Welcome back, everybody, to episode 304 of the Rideshare Rodeo audio podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching on YouTube. Thank you for listening on any of the pod platforms that you guys listen on. Appreciate every one of you. This week, I am happy to have Ron, Dasher Life Hawaii. Some of you guys may know him by either of those names, or if you're familiar with YouTube, you might know him as Boots as well. Ron, thank you for being on the podcast today.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
As you
this has been a minute. I've been waiting to have you on. I was hoping we'd get this before the new year, and we did. Um, so I guess before we go too far, and I'll tell you this that I was trying to go back last night and see, and I think that we talked about you on the round table because we saw your article before GigCon ever happened, and we even knew you were coming here.
hmm
Like we had already talked about your story because we had seen it. So I guess the first thing is before we get into a little bit of your background, how you got to this point with gig economy, but I'm really curious how how that story got picked up because like I said, we were talking about it before you even knew Red and the Gig Wars team.
um, it's it basically it started. I was scrolling through my timeline, and I was reading an article in the Business Insider about a guy who drives for Uber and DoorDash. Um, and I'm looking at the numbers he put out, and I'm like, he said he only take 3% of my offers, and I work 10-hour days, and I barely make $100, and I'm scratching my head like this can't be accurate. So I made a comment on it, and then Jacob responded to the comment, and then I dropped it because I was at a wedding with my girlfriend, and she was like, "Let's just enjoy the wedding." And I didn't think nothing of it. I just was like, you know what, forget it. And me and her had a disagreement about something. Don't even remember what it was. And during the disagreement, she sent me a text and said, "I don't know what you're gonna do with this, but here's the information." And it was Jacob from the Business Insider. And but I had noticed he had been inboxing me, and I just thought it was spam.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he asked me some questions, and I'm like, well, I don't understand how that guy does it because this is what I do every day. I sent him some numbers, and he was like, well, I need to verify. I'm like, what do you need? It's like, well, do you have a screenshot of your 1099? Do you have tax forms? Blase, blase. So I sent it to him. But before I sent it to him, I had to get it from DoorDash. And when they sent it back to me, I was like, "It's no way you're telling me I made 100,000 because that was my goal for this year."
Right.
And I'm looking at it, and I called them like, "Are you sure?" And they like, "Well, are you?" I say, "Yes." They asked me all the information, and it was like, "That's you." I was like, "Damn," because
Right.
last year I was dealing with my brother. He was battling stage 4 cancer. I had a lot of other stuff going on, so I knew I made some money, but I didn't know what it was. And once I
Sure.
found out, I was like, "This is unbelievable, like unreal." And once he seen the 114, he was like, "Well, my people need more proof." So they had me go get another year. And that year I was like, still like unbelievable. So it
Yeah.
all basically came out because of an article that I was reading, which I never knew the Business Insider was the #1 online business paper in the world. I never knew that. Jacob never told me that. And even my girlfriend didn't tell me, else no one would have knew what happened. I would have never did it because
Right.
I just thought it was a mom and pop's little paper, and it was gonna go away. Nobody's gonna read it, nobody's gonna see it, and it's just gonna disappear. And that didn't happen. So
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah, I mean, this is Business Insider usually Financial Times too, but Financial Times charges a ridiculous price to have that to get any articles. You have to pay, I think it's like $389 a year. You
Yeah.
know, even Business Insider has articles that you can't read without paying. They've got that
That
paywall up, and so
but it was just a thing like it just came across my timeline. I never knew nothing about the Business Insider. So I was scrolling and seen it and I was like, this it just and even before that article, I would always be on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, things like that, and I would see people post things, and I'm like, I can't understand why they saying because I only do DoorDash. That's
Right.
it. I don't do a multi app. I don't do nothing. So I'm like, why are they saying these things when? But then I have to look at it. Everybody's not built like me, or they're not in the market I'm in, the zone I'm in. So that I had to take that into consideration. But still, it was more trash, 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 trash. And I'm sitting here with the numbers that I'm doing and I'm producing. Even before I moved here to Hawaii, I still was making money in Michigan,
Right.
and it's like, why are they so mad or talking so negative about DoorDash only? It's not just with DoorDash. You have all other apps that people use, but they only was focusing on DoorDash. And I'm sitting here looking at what I produce daily and what I produce, and I'm like, well, you do work more hours than certain people. You do try to figure things out in different areas. You do a lot of things that people don't do, but it just wasn't adding up to me. And I'm like,
Right.
I always would say I should put it out there. I should say I should do this, I should do that. And then watching videos from different people is like, I don't want to get into that argument. I don't even want to deal with all the negativity. I don't want to deal with the backlash. And it happened, and it's like, yeah, um,
Yeah.
it's still, still people don't believe it. Comments I see on Reddit,
Well, I
the
mean,
Uber.
I mean, at this point, people should realize it because it's not just you. Other people have these type articles come. Even the Business Insider, he'll have an article like you said that raised your eyebrows that said I only make $100 a day, but then the next day, even if it wasn't you, it might not have been 100 grand, but you might have a guy in the same market interviewing the same guy at Business Insider who said, "Oh, I make 500 a day in that market."
Right.
So
And
I
that's
mean,
what I
it's not even just market to market; it's driver to driver too.
and that's what I was saying too. Like, I've always tell people, I'm not the only one who do this. I'm not the only one who produce a lot of numbers. It's a lot of, oh shoot, I don't know if they're gonna let me park here today. Drivers out here who make money like I do. It's just the thing. I'm the first one who actually let it come out to where it's worldwide now, to where it's known, where we can make money out here in this market, in this
Yeah,
economy, period. And that's the problem that most don't understand. Like, it's not just me. If you Even if you look at what we do in gig, you see the numbers that's produced in different times and different places and different zones and different markets, and it's still money to be made in the gig economy, no matter what platform you're working on.
yeah, I agree. I mean, and we'll get back to something on that in a second. But before we go too far in, you mentioned it because you're from Michigan. I'm from Michigan. I love that. Um, so how long? So you're born and raised in Michigan, right?
Yes,
Okay. So after Michigan, like you didn't move to multiple states. You went to only Hawaii.
yes.
So how long have you been in Hawaii?
2 years now.
Okay. And the whole so since you were doing it gig economy in Michigan too, the whole 2 years in Hawaii, you've been doing gig economy only.
Gig economy only, yes.
Okay. Because I know I've heard you say you have other plans in life too. You have other things you want to do. And,
Yeah, I
so
use
I'm just,
I
go
just
ahead.
use I'm using pretty much right now DoorDash for seed money to um do other business adventures and work on my 5 year, 10 year plan. So it's just a way, in my opinion, it's a way of means to me not having to ask a bank for a loan or get any funding from family members. Is the
Yeah.
way I can produce it on my own, and I can do it organically.
And as we all know, look, it's hard to find a gig that you can do and make 100 grand at and be producing that kind of money on the side. So, and to those out there, this is, I guess, what I was going at is that, um, I had Gig Geezer on a while back on a last mile episode, and we were talking about how, or he asked me out of the blue. He was like, "Do you think that gig workers on YouTube?" And he was specific about YouTube. Do you think that gig workers on YouTube glamorize gig work? And I had to really think about it because I was like, kind of, like, but I think that the good YouTubers glamorize it, but they're glamorizing it because they're proud of it and they did something good and they're trying to show it. But I didn't think of it how he was saying. And I was thinking, yeah, man, maybe, if you're somebody that jumps on YouTube and you get one video and it's somebody saying, man, I make 10,000 a day, you might go, whoa, wait, I can quit my job and just do that. But my thing is, maybe you should go catch a video of the guy who only makes 100 a day. Or you should learn the difference between active hours and dash time, because a lot of dashers say their earnings and they're like, hey, I made this in 5 hours. And I'm like, you were on the app for 5 hours? They're like, no, I was on for 9. I'm like, then you work 9 hours. Because I never understood that. I never understood saying your earnings based on just your active. If you're sitting in the car staring at an app, you're working.
Right. And that's the thing too. What I get backlash from both sides because I the 1st of December of this year, I made $660 in one day, but I was active 18 hours, but my dash time was 20 hours. So I'm not afraid to post that.
Right.
So, and I'm not afraid to tell people, yes, I've active 18 hours, but I also was out there 20 hours. So you have to look at that and factor it in. And they still, well, you work too many hours. Either you want me to tell you the hours or you don't want me to tell you the hours. And
Right.
when it all boiled down to it, to me, it's like I put the time in to do it, and I'm not suggesting anybody go out there and work the way I work. I will always tell people if you did half of what I did, you will make it in this economy. And most of the people or most of the drivers in this economy, if they don't understand the business or the app that they're truly working, if they don't understand it, they're not going to make it out here. And then they're going to complain and cry and get mad and say it's all trash. And it's not it's not always good because we know how what the apps do, but you can make it beneficial to you in your area. So, and that's what I try to do. Even the 6 states that I've dashed in, anytime I go there and I turn this app on, I'm gonna make it work for me.
Yeah.
That's all I try to do.
Yeah, and I mean that's a good point. That's what I meant about the over glamorizing. It doesn't have to be money or this or that, but like as long as you put all the information out, this is what I tell everybody that I know on YouTube world. Make sure you tell people how long that took you. Like make sure you add those details that you might just be so excited about what you earned that you're not maliciously not saying it, but there's more to be said.
Right, right,
Like you gotta, I know you're excited, but also saying there that, like you just said, I was on the app for 20 hours. I mean, because that right there might throw off those people who think it's a little glamorized and go, well, wait a minute, dude, I don't want to work 20 hours I can't do that. And that, I mean, it goes to the service industry point. I spent years working in bars. Look, I've watched professionals come through the bars, and I've watched people who didn't even make it a full week. They're like, dude, this is a lot of work. I'm like, then quit. Like honestly, get out of my way, dude. I need somebody who works.
right. And that's in my opinion, that's a problem in this economy. We have a lot of people who come out here. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. 114,000 is not a lot of money in today's times. It's not, but it's clickbait, and they see the clickbait. They see the 114.
It,
They
it
don't
is.
break.
It is a lot of money.
Yeah,
I hear what
yeah.
you're saying. It's not as much as it was. It's still a lot though.
And and then too, it's like it was clickbait. So they didn't. A lot of people didn't take the chance. First, they didn't even go to the Business Insider and read that article. All they seen was what they saw on YouTube, right, or the internet. They didn't go to the Business Insider and read the article of what I produced in 2 years well, I'm gonna say 3 years now on DoorDash. They don't see the whole number. They just see the 114.
Yeah,
If they go and read the Business Insider, they're really going to be mad because they're going to see it's way more than 114, right?
right.
But
Yeah.
that's the dedication and time that I put into this, and I only did it with one app. Like, and it's like I said, there's nothing wrong with multi app. But with me, I rather do it with one app because if I multi app, I'm gonna spend the same amount of time multi apping that I did with one app,
If
and
not more. And
if
then
not more.
and then you're screwing around because sometimes you might just put it in the background, but sometimes you might turn it off and come back. And we should all be smart enough to realize that, look, we complain about all the intricacies of the algorithms, but to be honest, you should be aware that if you're turning an app on and off, not just not accepting, but you're like, okay, I'm jamming on DoorDash, I'm just going to leave it in the background. They start to get pissed if, like, they can just tell you're not even looking at these,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay, well then, I mean, I mean, just people make your own logic of it. To me, it's like, wouldn't they create a way to say only show him some for a while because he's not doing anything? To me, that
They
would make logical sense with everything else they do. So
They do like, and I'll be trying to explain people. So you turn on. So say they on the road, right? They on DoorDash. They're getting order banger after banger. Then they stop and they send them some like three trash orders. Oh, I'm switching to Spark, right?
yeah,
So that at that moment, how you know that wasn't a test for you to get you off of there. As soon as you get off, that next person got that banging order, that $20 order with a $60 tip. You don't know. So now you
right,
done threw the algorithm off and you're stuck in that low ball order. So even when you log back in, you're not gonna get nothing but trash. And it's just an opinion that I have, is a feeling that I have, of the way the algorithm works. Once you throw it off, it's going to continue you on that same path because we're put into, in my opinion, we're put into a queue, and once you're in that queue, whether you turn the app off, you whatever you do to it to make it think that you're not going to do these orders, you're still going to stay in that queue even when you turn it back on from that short period of time. And
yeah.
I that's why I don't do it. And that's why I do it the way I do it, and I work the way I work. And most don't understand it. I still trying to learn it. I'm still trying to get things down to the point of, okay, the algorithm gonna feed me this, and this throughout my day. I set my day up, and I get up in the morning, I do the breakfast, I do the lunch, and then I do dinner. And I set my day up to every day. It's pretty much the same revolving pattern. Now, it's days out here where they feed me a lot of trash, and I know I gotta decipher through that. And I gotta work through that, and I gotta struggle. But I'm not gonna sit up here and say it's all garbage because I know eventually it's gonna get better on the other side.
And so you're in Oahu, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I would imagine that's probably the strongest of the Hawaiian markets, even though my guess is they all pay well, but they
Well, well, here in Maui before the fires was on Maui and then Kona. So Kona, those are the three strongest markets over here. The other islands are smaller. Um,
is
Oahu,
Kona's the big island?
no, the Big Island is the Big Island.
Okay.
The only thing about the Big Island is a lot of lava zones. So
Yeah.
a lot of people live off the grid because the land is cheaper over there, and they really don't order a lot of DoorDash.
Yeah.
So, or they, a lot of the gig work, they don't do it a lot because they try to keep that island a little bit nostalgia and more history of it. And
Yeah.
you know,
But I know that like I've seen rideshare drivers who crush it on Kauai and they're
oh,
just doing these short little trips.
yeah, yeah. Kauai is mostly waterfalls and forests and hikes. So they're going
Yeah.
to be, a lot of the tourists go through there and they want to see the sights, so they do make money in rideshare.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I've been to a handful of the islands. One of my closest friends lives on Maui, lived through the fires. He's actually the sous chef at Duke's there. So they were all shut
So,
down and kind of a big deal. Like his wife is indigenous to the island of Maui, and so is her mom and her grandmother, and they all live down the hill from each other. And somehow, like, when the fires happened, he wasn't in one of the good areas. And somehow, though, the mom, the grandmother, all the houses in the neighborhood burned down except for like 7, and theirs was one of the 7 that didn't burn down.
Yeah,
I feel as much as I feel bad, it's like he's like, I feel bad, man. My neighbors on both sides, house to the ground. Ours not even a burn mark.
yeah.
But he kind of made it sound like, man, we got a lot more land now.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. The thing about it is, I was doing a delivery and I went up, had to go up the mountain, and I'm looking, I'm like, dang, something's on fire, and didn't know what it was until like I looked and was like, oh shit, that was Maui. So you
Yeah.
actually seen it from this island.
Oh,
And it was
I would imagine you saw the smoke from anywhere on the island.
well, no, like it was a overcast. So on a clear day, you can see clear across to Maui
Yeah.
on a clear day. But when it's foggy like that, you can't really see the island. And you only at night, it was nighttime, so it was actually getting dark, like sunset, and when you start seeing it. But it had been burning for 2 days before they even said anything. And only reason on the third day they said something is because it started getting out that it was burning. So
So when you went Michigan to Hawaii, what was the reason for making the Hawaii move?
I've always wanted to come here since 2005 when I first visited the islands. I would come back every year except 2010 for 2 week vacation. And
Do you have family there?
I have a brother who lives here.
Okay.
He lives in Mililani. He's been here 23, 24 years. I was at a point I was running my own. I was working at the plant. I decided to leave there after 17 years, and I was also running my own automotive repair service, which is a mobile auto repair service. And it's like basically I've been a business owner and an entrepreneur for a very long time.
In
Um,
Detroit.
yes, yes,
In Detroit you were. Okay.
yeah. So it was to a point of once I left the plant, I was on my, just doing my mobile repair service. And being a business owner, some people don't understand. You the last person to sometimes eat. You the
If
last
even. I've
person.
been a business owner
Yeah,
too, if even.
yeah. You the last, and it's a different mentality and it's a strain. So I was going through a breakup. My at the time my family was really just trying to pull me in every which way but loose. I couldn't really get no help with the business, far as you want to hire people, but if you pull up, you have somebody go check out a $50,000 car and they destroy it, it falls back on you. So a lot of things was going on mentally, and I just said I'm leaving. My children were grown, or they are grown, so it was time to go. The relationship was failing. The children is grown. Grandson was born, and I was like, I need to get away from this because I know this. This is where I've been for 44 years. I need a fresh start. And I picked the phone up and I was talking to my brother, and we were just having a conversation. I was like, "Man, I'm burnt out. I'm burnt out. I don't know what to do. I need to, as men, we don't have outlets, right? So we don't have anyone we pretty much can talk to and feel comfortable with. So my brother said, come here. I said, I'm on my way. And I moved. I left
I
him.
gotta tell the audio podcast listeners, for those of you listening, you might want to just pop over to YouTube. I know how a lot of you feel about it. If you do, obviously give Dash Your Life Hawaii a sub, say hello. But you got to see Ron for one, because he doesn't look like a grandfather at all. Guy does not even look close to a grandfather. He looks
I
way
have,
too young to be a grandfather, man.
yeah, I have 3 grandchildren now. Yeah.
um, But so okay, so you're only doing DoorDash down there.
hmm
Obviously, this isn't about that just 100 plus grand you made. It's more about just, I mean, obviously you do well down there. And one thing that we know, I mean, I had Sergio on the 300th podcast, and we got into a topic that I've been following a lot, but we don't often talk about it on a lot of things because it can get touchy. But with Sergio, they were asking him if we could because he's an immigrant, and he said, yeah. And I figured between the two of us is a perfect time. But um, we talked about, the 8 million people who have illegally entered this country, and
Mm-hmm.
they're the triple overdose saturation on all
Mm-hmm.
these apps now here in the continental United States, because we had oversaturation in every market, but that now there's black market illegal accounts being rented out every day. Those people run them 24 hours a day, which means if there's three people running 8-hour shifts 24 hours a day on an illegal account, you never ever have the driver of that actual account on there. So who knows how safe that person is? I mean, most of them are probably doing these things and they're probably safe, but at the same time, once they realize if they have any criminal intent, once they realize, wait, there's no tie to me because this is somebody else's account, that could become a different story if they're seeing your house or they're seeing a way into your house or something like that. If that criminal element's there and they're doing this just to get by, they might be, that's really being able to scope things. So there's a danger level for the customers too, and what these apps have let happen. Um, you don't have that problem down there because you don't have the people illegally crossing into Hawaii. That just doesn't happen.
Well, we have some immigrants here. The biggest, most of the biggest problem here is homeless.
Right,
Um,
but they're not crossing a border that's just torn down and entering. You can't do that.
I've ran into 7 that I know, immigrants that's here. They're
Right.
they're on they're using mopeds right now. One of them the other day, I was in Cheesecake Factory. He's in there with 5 phones, and he just they trying to get he's Uber on one, DoorDash on another, and he's just trying to get them all together. Hungry Panda. It's well, it used to be Bite Squad until Uber bought it.
Right.
Bite Squad. He's running all the apps, and I'm just like, and he looks and he sees me. He's like, "Oh, you're the reason I'm here." I'm like,
Oh
"It
no.
is what it is, man." I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but but I don't. When it comes to that, sometimes I don't look at it, and I don't let that deter me. And
No, but I guess my point was that we have 8 million that crossed over.
yeah,
You've had a handful that somehow got a plane ticket or whatever to Hawaii, and that's not cheap as it is. Most of these people that show up have nothing on them money wise, nothing when
yeah.
they get here, and they move them to the blue states now out of Texas because they're like, fine, you take them.
Oh,
You
that's
know what I
wrong.
mean?
That's
Well, but
wrong.
I mean, what are they supposed to be doing? Letting them all live there?
Yeah, it's
I
bad.
mean, I get it, but I'm saying like, and this isn't to get political, but they're just. I'm not even saying what the answer is because I don't know it, but something needs to be done. You can't keep letting in people. There's a difference between coming here illegally, because there isn't a way of coming here illegally that's legal, and being illegal for a little bit. That's a different thing. But just crossing over and we have no record of you, that's different.
In so many words, I think it's planned by our. I mean, not to say it like, but our government. I think they plan it
Yeah.
that way to kill the economy much as they can for we to be more dependent on the government. It's just
Oh
my
yeah, yeah.
opinion. It's just my opinion. I'm not
No,
saying
no,
it's
no.
factual.
I'm
Yeah.
right there with you. I somebody said this to me once where, and it doesn't have to be true for anybody, but I'll just say it that I'm a registered independent voter, which means I don't get to vote in primaries, but I can vote in the general elections.
Hmm.
That's the one downside if anybody isn't aware. You can't vote in primaries, so you can't vote for who will run in the parties since you're independent. But I will say this, that somebody said to me, listen, in your 20s and 30s, a lot of people are good-hearted Democrats. By their 40s, 50s, they start seeing the side of Republican and feel a little bit burnt by Democrats. And then, they start balancing after that. And there is a balance. I've always said, the two-party system needs to go. We just need to candidates should just be running on who they are, and everybody should have a fact checked website, and if you are saying I stand for this, a fact checked website would say no you don't, because you also stand for this, so you can't. So where do you stand? And you'd have to pick something. You'd have to stay in your lane,
Right. So
because they just go out and lie to everybody and whatever they can to get the votes. So it's really more about the party. And I know that we can say this is not being mean, but Democrat led stuff always wants as many programs as possible, which equates to a lot more tax dollars for us. That doesn't mean some of these programs aren't wrong, but I don't like the way that it's just a free for all at spending. And
so
like you said, potentially bringing in more people to show that we have more people who don't have jobs, so we need more programs. That kind of stuff is just the wrong. I don't know.
and most people who vote politically only go off of what they were taught when they were younger. They go off the family history. They don't look at certain people, or the people who run, and they don't look at their agenda. I mean, and I've said it a lot of times. Some people don't like it. Most people don't even know why they voted for Obama. They don't. They just know he was black and they voted for him. And that's
Yeah.
why, because this person said it. They didn't follow his agenda. They didn't follow his plan. They didn't follow any of that. Oh, he's going to be the first black president. And then most people don't even know why they don't like Trump, but they only go about what they see in the media.
Yeah.
They say, oh, he's a bigot, he's a racist, he's this, he's that. But behind the scenes, do you know what that man has done? Did you see
Yeah.
what he did for the country? Did you follow his agenda? Did you know? And then when I speak of it, oh, you like you this, you that. And then so either way it go, like I tell people, they don't even like conversations like me and you are having right now,
No.
because
No.
we're not supposed to have these conversations. We're supposed to hate each other, because
Yeah.
that's the narrative they spit out there when it comes to the religion and the politics of this. In this country, most people don't even understand that the Democratic was the evil party in the beginning. I don't know
Yeah.
when it flipped to make them the savior, but the
Well,
Republican
the
Party was.
I mean, nobody should ever forget that the Republican Party's first major win was ending slavery. Let's not forget that. I
but
mean, look, that's a
but
big deal, you guys. That should tell you something about the other party.
but the narrative, but if you look at the narrative over the years, it changed. They made it seem like the Democratic Party was the ones who did it.
Yeah,
So
sure.
like, and most like it's just back to what I said earlier about the news article in the Business Insider versus the articles and videos on YouTube. No one takes the time to read and understand what they're getting themselves into. They just go off the popularity of it all. Who's popular, who's moving, who's doing all. Oh, I'm going on that side. It's just like, it's another analogy. Like the DoorDash was came out with it hit the national news. Oh, they're going to tell customers they got a tip, or they can't. They're going to wait for their order. Now everybody jumps on it, but not realizing at least 4 to 5 months ago, Sarah Elizabeth was the first person who said something about it, and nobody paid it no attention, because it's
Yeah.
been out for a very long time. They
Yeah.
just they just didn't do it because to them at that time it was boring. Now that everybody knows in this world, quote unquote, worldwide, oh, we got to put out information on it, and most who put out information still didn't even put out the right information. So
My
it's like,
take on that is just a PR move anyway. Number one, I believe that by the new year they'll retract that last screen won't be there anymore. They often
yeah,
put something in the app for 5-6 weeks. Look how good of a company we are. We're trying to fight for our drivers. Yeah, we drivers know you're not. Like
right.
don't and they do listen to this podcast. So as you guys are, as whatever companies are listening this week, we know you don't. We know you don't. None of us, especially us veterans, we know you don't have our best interest at heart. We know you don't care. We are an algorithmic number to you. That's it. We are a database entry node. That's all. There is no
I,
humanization going on. They don't care about our well-being.
And they show you that too, just off DoorDash alone. In the 3 years that I've been working it, I've seen all the changes that come along. When I first got into it, there was no borders, there was no zones. It was just you go anywhere, drive, you get an order. Then the zones
But that was
came in.
pandemic times too.
That was it was, but it was before. And then like even with that, it's like, and then it went to this, and then Top Dasher just was, you didn't have to worry about no numbers. You was Top Dasher. Now all that stuff, you got, it changes. And then
Oh,
you get people who put stuff out on the internet that they shouldn't put out on video, and then they get mad when the companies go back and try to clean it up. And oh no, they're doing us. They're, oh yeah, they're not always right. They're not. So we go through these changes and we have to adapt with it. But the companies try to make it seem like it's our fault, and saying sometimes it don't be our fault, it be their fault totally. And they'll throw you a nugget, you'll take it, and then you don't take it, and it's just a back and forth with it all. But they really don't care. As long as you're making money for them and their shareholders is paid,
yep.
you're all right.
Yeah, and we don't even know that their shareholders necessarily get paid, but their VCs do. The original venture capitalists who got in, they get paid.
Yeah.
They're, even if the company doesn't make money, they're making some money. That does happen. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Um, I'm with you about the apps that listen. It's I do always equate it to the service industry. Not everybody is cut out for this, and I know some people look at the gig work and think, well, but that's not working in a bar or a restaurant, which I don't want to do. This is different. I'm just delivering food. It's still the service industry, and you're still going to be
Hmm.
somewhat reliant on tips. So if you think,
Hmm.
I mean, look at your personality, and I don't just mean personality handing it to the customer and dealing with the restaurant. I mean the whole thing. Like if you're a type who's like, I've been out here an hour and I haven't made any money, what the heck? And you're negative for the rest of your day, and don't expect any tips because your energy's bad too. I mean, the whole thing, that kind of stuff carries over, and it's, and I
I,
guess those people will fall off by the wayside at some point, but
I, I tell anybody like this: if you arguing with your girl, your kids, your dog, the paper man, the mailman, don't do this. Don't come
yeah,
out here, because it basically starts when your mindset. If you feel like you're not gonna make no money, you're not gonna make no money. If you feel like you're gonna go in this restaurant and give these people an attitude, when you walk in, they're doing a job. Now I get it. The app says it's ready. It may not be ready. So you go in there and you mad. So even if you go in there and the order's ready, I've seen this firsthand. People come in, shove the phone in someone's face,
oh
don't
yeah,
speak, don't say nothing, and then I can see the order maybe sitting there. Then they get a person attitude, and then by the
yeah,
time it's all over, they frustrated, they unassigned it, and soon as they leave out, the next person walk in, pick that order up, and leave right out. And it's been sitting there the whole time, all because their attitude was negative. And
yeah,
it's like you can't do this and and expect somebody. The entitlement in this economy, this side of business is crazy. It's like you, if
yeah,
you don't, if you got an order, it's no tip. Why take it?
yeah. That's why I was saying about glamorize, because I'm wondering if some of these people have seen like 4 or 5 videos, quit their job, jumped into the gig economy and said, well, I just did 4 orders. I didn't make $50 an order.
No, you're
Well,
not gonna make
of course
50
you
bucks an
didn't.
order.
That's not how it
Yeah.
works. So if you saw a video that said that is how it works, you should go back and tell that person that's not how it works.
And the
So,
thing about it too, one of the things about it is pandemic, COVID spoiled a lot of people.
oh yeah,
When you turn that app on in 30 minutes, you got 150, $200, and they still living in that time. Hey, that's not coming back no time soon. You
no,
know,
Lou from the Long Island Dash Experience and I had a pretty deep discussion. We've done like 7 or 8, and it's Lou, Mary, and I. And Lou said to me that the last one we did just about a couple months ago, he said, well, he goes, here, don't get mad at me, but he goes, here's my new opinion on it. He said, honestly, he goes, it's not just the dashers who are feeling entitled to a certain amount of money. He goes, he said that all these people who during the pandemic were getting stimulus checks. Doesn't matter if they were getting PUA or whatnot. We were all getting stimulus checks. We were at points where we were in lockdown. We couldn't leave our houses. You couldn't do fun stuff. And so movie theaters came to your house. You could pay $20 and watch a movie that just came out in the theater at your house. You couldn't go do stuff, but you could order food. So that became like a fun thing to do as well as a necessity. And now it's a full-blown luxury. And his thing was, he literally said, look, at 90% of you customers using the app need to delete the app today. You can't afford it.
That's true too. That's
He
true
was
too.
like, he's like, you people are living in the pandemic era. You think you can afford this, but you can't.
Yeah. And
And
that shows
if you're tipping nothing, that should be the first sign of proof you can't afford it.
that's true. And then you also have the ones who just won't tip at all. Them the ones
Right,
like
but he's kind of pointing out the people who he's been doing it so long in Long Island, he knows. He's like, this neighborhood always would tip me on average this amount. And he's saying now they all tip me $1. The same
yeah,
people. Those people are the ones he's saying they don't understand they can't afford the service anymore.
and the ones that, to me, the ones that don't tip is the same one that go to the restaurant and always got to talk to the manager. You can't even afford to eat here because you're gonna
Yeah.
say you're gonna say something was wrong with your service. No matter how good the service is, the food was, you're gonna always got to talk to the manager to try to get a free meal. You know
Right.
that, and that's just the way it is out here too. Like even the customers get mad. Oh, you're doing your job. Well, I am doing a job, and it comes back to the apps. They don't pay us as mobile servers. They pay us as brick and mortar servers. That's why the base pay is what it is. You know,
Yeah.
they don't pay us as getting in our car and going to taking it to the customer, which in my opinion should be $5 across the board on short distance and $8 across the board on long distance. That's just my opinion. You know, that's the figure I came up with. Could be more, could be less. I don't know. But
See, I
they
take
pay us.
a totally different approach. I actually think I used to play with the numbers. We used to play with them over at Para and see what could really be done. But now I have this whole new approach of it would save the company a lot of money to not even be taking anything out of it, because then they could call us true independent contractors. They'd get
Mhm.
around a lot of tax stuff. They'd get around a lot of this SaaS. You're handing a customer to a person who, if they're audited, can't produce that customer's information. So that's not really their customer. It's yours, the middleman's. They could get around all that if they took, and you might not like this, base pay to zero. And by that, I mean, on the last screen, it's not even a, hey, don't forget to tip your driver. It's like, it's just like the rest of the screens. It's a flow screen. You don't get past it. Now put in your bid for a drive, or put in a bid for the service. Because
Mhm.
as somebody who worked in the tipping industry and bars and restaurants, I get that people want to see the service first before tipping. So this isn't really a tip. It's a service fee.
Mhm.
So bid your service fee. And then just, we know these companies are smart enough to say that bid is estimated to take 50 minutes. If you add $5 to your bid, you will most likely get it in 20 minutes, something along
Mhm.
those lines, so that there's no BS, no hidden transparency issues. It's up front and it just comes through, and it's still, do you want to take it or not? But you're just seeing the straight price.
Right. Well, that sounds great.
Right? I mean, because then
That sounds
the
great.
company's paying you zero. There's no base pay anymore. So it would literally say, okay, you've made your order. So guess what? Now you have to pay to have it driven to you, though. Not a
Yeah.
tip. But if you put zero in it, here's when it'll get to you. Never.
Yeah.
Because
And
there's no, you got to put something in there.
yeah, and they made it easier for them not to tip with that. Okay, I'm gonna order $60 worth of food, or I'm gonna get you to shop my groceries, my $300 grocery bill, and don't pay you nothing because you getting the base pay of $2.50. They made it easy for them, but it's more harder for us. And it's a different way they could do it across the board. They just choose not to.
Right, but they
And
keep lowering what they're going to give
yeah,
out as base pay, and I say just take it away.
yeah. And I do believe too, like they're lowering the base pay for us, a lot of us, because of what they're doing in different markets, like in New York. They're paying them $30 an hour. So where's the money gonna come from?
Well,
California,
that's the last topic I have today, because we're gonna bring that up, because they're not quite paying them $30 an hour. There's a trick to this, you guys.
oh,
Here, I'm gonna bring this up right now. So look, this is what the New York Dashers saw in the app. Um, here's what you should know about New York City pay regulations. Now, remember, this is coming from DoorDash, so you should always be a little skeptical when you're reading the comment from the app. Like, now go do research, because here's what they say. They say, how does the minimum work? So dashers can continue to dash and earn per offer, but your pay will be reviewed on a weekly cadence to see if you qualify for a weekly pay adjustment. So earning minimums. Dashers will now earn at least $29.93 an hour of active time from when the order is accepted until completed. This rate excludes tips and is just a minimum. No dashers still have the so dashers still have the opportunity to earn more than the minimum. Here's the thing, though, you guys. On this one, I got to tell you that this is two things. So it's actually, if you don't want to take the they're asking, DoorDash is wanting you to take the per minute here. They're saying take the per minute. It's $29.93 for an active hour. That kind of works in the way that Prop 22 did. The other side of this is really scary, because what they're not telling you here is if you don't opt into this, you will make $17.96 just to be on the app. They haven't put in any kind of clauses about like how many declines you can make. But so if I turn on the app and sit at home, I'm going to be paid. But here's where the problem comes in. And New York's faced this before, is that when they do this, they do the same thing that the TLC and the medallion cabs had to do. They only let a certain amount of dashers be on the platform at the same time. So if you choose the option of $17.96 flat pay, it's not for active time, it's for dash time. Now I'm sure they're going to put some things in there, like you can only decline 2 or 3 per hour kind of thing. And after that, you'll be turned off if you don't. It'll kind of be like the hourly thing is my guess.
Right.
Like hourly pay. I think you can decline 2 or something, or 1 even. I don't even know. But what they're trying to do is get you to do this one where it's 50 cents a minute is how I don't know why they say $29.93. It's weird to me, because it should be 30, because it's 60 minutes. 50 cents a minute would be $30. But they're saying $29.93 for whatever reason. But so the 50 cents a minute, if you choose to take that, that's only going to be when you take the dashes. But if you take the New York City law, you're going to get $17.96 just to be on. Now, they tried this with Rideshare, and all of my Rideshare driver friends in New York City who would make $60, $70 an hour. It was like $29.96 or something like this a few years back. And all my friends who were taking the hardest shifts, the midnight shifts on Fridays, the late nights, the ones that nobody wanted unless you were out just to make the best money. And these people were. Now they would take those shifts and they couldn't make anything over $30, $35, because you got to have a floor meets ceiling. When you put in these numbers, DoorDash is not paying the difference of the people who are making $4 an hour sitting at home. They're not just paying them that difference. They're taking it from the top earners. And so it's floor meets ceiling. And so here's how I look at it. It happened in Rideshare. Expect that the whatever it is, $17.96, expect that to become what you all make, whether you're a hustler or just the laziest person on earth.
Yeah.
And that's a problem in my book, because this is a hustler job. It's like working in a bar. I know people who have tried to work at the high volume bars I work at, and all I'm thinking is, dude, you got to quit or get fired, because you belong at an Applebee's in the suburb. You do not belong in this high volume bar. You don't know how to bartend.
And that's the thing with this economy. A lot of people don't know that. I'm just gonna put it in my case, right? When they said, "Do you want Prop 22?" I say, "Hell no." Why would I want Prop 22? Because I know I've had hours where I came out and I made 100, I made 150, I made $200 an hour. I mean, does it happen more oftentimes than none? Yes, but it doesn't happen. I'm not gonna say every day, but
Right.
even in that sense, I know I've done it. So why would I want an hourly wage? It doesn't make sense to me. Oh,
And
I get it.
you won't have those banger nights anymore. You
Right,
know they'll reel
right,
that back. They'll say, "Ron, you
right,
can't make this much money. We gotta take
right,
it that and give it to the people who
right.
can't earn."
Right, and that's the thing. Like they don't want to get out here. This economy is built for hustlers and entrepreneurs, not people with a W-2 mindset. You
Right.
know, when they come out here, "Oh, I want to make 300 in an hour." That's not gonna happen, dude.
Yeah.
I got a system. For every 4 hours I work, I need to make $100. That's my system. A lot of people, if I'm working 4 hours, I need to make 400. Dude, you're not gonna happen unless if you put in the work and the time into anything is going to pay off. But they go out, I need a handout when it don't work for them. Oh, now I want to unionize, now I want to do this, now I want to do that. But the people who's actually earning it brings it down. And when I say that to people, "Oh, are you just mad?" No, I'm not mad about it, because 9 times out of 10 I'm still going to produce my numbers. It just may take me a little longer in the long run, but I'm still going to produce, and you're still going to be sitting there saying, "How did you do that?" Because if you understand it, you can make it work. But when you begging, you always gonna say it's trash.
Yeah. And I mean,
That's just my opinion.
no, you're 100% right. Because I mean, again, I often do this, but I'm putting it in service industry things. If I want to get a Friday, Saturday, and a Thursday night, 3 great bar shifts, I'm gonna have to work 2 day shifts, and those day shifts are gonna suck, and I'm gonna make barely anything. But I have to take those to get the 3 great shifts where I'm gonna
Hmm.
make $100 an hour. But I'll go
Right.
in and work the day shift for 4 hours and make $15 an hour, you know? But I
Yeah.
know that by doing that day shift on Tuesday, I'm getting 3 night shifts. So I'm going to kill it that week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's, I guess, again, part of that mindset. It's like those people might say, well, I'm not going to work that day shift because those 4 hours, I'm not going to make the $100. Well, then you're not going to get the $100 shifts.
Yeah.
And you'll probably just be told you probably shouldn't work here.
Yeah.
And again, that's kind of a combo because that's a W-2 that still works that way and says, well, you're at the wrong place, buddy. Like that's not how it goes. We all pay our dues because somebody has to be there on Tuesday afternoon to run the bar.
Hmm.
If you'll be that somebody, then you're the guy that week and you get a little perk.
And
So
a lot of people who get in this economy don't realize, like, they don't want people like me and you and others to work long hours. They want to flood the market to where people only working 2 hours a week, barely making $100, and they don't have less overhead. But for me working all these, they like, no, 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 we got to get rid of this.
yeah,
We got to get rid of this, and we'll like right now they have the 900 for you, the 600 for them, the incentive. I refer somebody.
yeah.
Why? No, you trying to bring? I mean, I don't care about market saturation. I don't. More
No,
for
no,
people
because a
that
lot
do.
because a lot
Yeah,
fall by the wayside too, and people
yeah,
don't talk
yeah,
about that so much. They get out here a couple
yeah.
days, they're done.
And that's the thing. That I seen an article yesterday. It's 20 planes full with Dasher's going to flood his market. He's not going to make that money. I was like, that must be a long layover because I ain't seen him yet.
Well, plus they
So,
what? And now they got to get there. They got to find a place to live. It's not cheap to live there at all. And I'm not saying, look, I mean, you were just here recently. It's not cheap to live here either.
all right. So they don't understand that when you see something and you think is what it is, you have to put your plan together. And they jump out and get mad when they listen. It takes time. This is a 3 year thing. I've built this in 3 years. It ain't easy. It's not easy. I just make it look that way. But I took the time and to understand, and I'm still learning. I'm learning from you. I'm learning from Paige. I'm learning from everybody in this economy on certain things. But I still do it my way, and
Yeah.
that's the most thing that people don't understand. I'm not gonna sit up here and say, come out here and work these hours. No. But if you
Oh,
ask me a question, I'll give you my opinion and the best opinion that I have to maybe fit your way of working.
you
And
know,
that's all it is.
I'll mention, I mean, even some of my radio listeners, I've had them on only twice since I've known him a long time, but I'll use Bud Soda as an example here too, because he's a good person, and we all know that he is somebody who does work too much because he never takes time off. Like, I know that you're working a lot of hours too, but you know how to. You're going to a wedding. You do this. You're doing some things at least to balance out some life.
Yeah,
But he's
I went.
working all the
Yeah,
time, and he can't make what you do. But that's a market to market. He couldn't. It's not like he's doing anything wrong. It's impossible to make that much where he lives.
well, and talking with Bud and Dylan, he can do it. As
I mean, I just
sometimes,
don't even think there's the volume. It's not even
sometimes,
saturated. It's his market is very small.
and but his mentality with Bud, it only takes 318. If you work in 7 days, it only takes $318 a day. And with Bud Soda, his thing is he has to make four, five, six, $700 every day to make. No, you don't. If
Yeah.
you make 318 a day, I mean, if you want to do, get into the higher, you go to 350, whatever. But you make that 318 every day. At the end of the month, at the end of the year, you're gonna be over 100,000. But with Bud Soda, he puts, in my opinion, he puts too much pressure on himself, saying I have to make this, 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 and this, and this. And sometimes it's like you say you made this, but did you really? And it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. And I've told them all the time, when you approach somebody in the way you speak, just say, in my opinion, or the way I feel, not that it has to be like he told someone $350 was a bad day. Where's that a
Yeah.
bad day? And
Yeah, and I don't know where
where?
that's yeah, I don't know where that's coming from because I know he struggles to make those kind of numbers in his market, even working 24 hours. So, um,
According to him, he makes it every day.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
like I say, if he changes his mentality just a slight, he'll be all right. But
yeah. It's
it's
just sometimes it's not even a saturation thing or whatever. I guess was my point there. It's you can only work your market to so much, but here is the flip side of it. Bud Soda's cost of living is probably 1/5 of yours.
right,
No joke. Probably 1/5, maybe 1/4.
right,
But I mean, that's a big look. If you pay to live $1,000 a month, or you're me who has a son that lives with you 24/7 and you pay 5,000 a month, well, there's a big difference. I got to make up a $4,000 difference between us. You don't need to make as much as I do.
yeah,
In fact, you could probably make 2/3 of what I make, and you'd make more than what I do because your cost of living is lower.
it's lower. So
So it's
I
all
learned.
relevant too.
Yeah,
It's not only market to market, it's relevant, you
yeah.
know.
I learned here to say, am I gonna be in a $6,000 apartment? What is it? A studio for 550 square feet a month just because I'm making 12, 14 grand a month? Or am I going to live within my means and go get me a $2,000 apartment that's got 600 square feet? I ain't paying for parking because I'm going to park for free and all my other amenities. That way I'm bringing down. So I've learned to be in my cost of living. I live in the heart of Waikiki. And I was fortunate enough to find an apartment that I don't have to spend four, five, $6,000 a month on. And most people want to come and like, if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. But I'm not just gonna be working to pay bills. That's not what I'm doing. No, we're not doing
Were
that
you were
here.
you were
I,
you overshooting that, or is that a real number?
that's a real number.
6,000 a month for a
Yeah,
500 square
we
foot
we
nothing?
yes, that's a real number. Yes, we have apartments here. Like it's literally the square footage is ridiculous for what they want to pay.
I
And
mean, that's
no,
that's insanity though. I don't I was
it,
just thinking about you saying that the Dashers are coming, and I'm like, well, where are you gonna go? You can't afford 6 grand.
but they do have apartments here for $525 a month.
Right, but you
But you
probably
go,
have to leave town a little bit or whatever,
oh
and
no, you gonna have a couple cousins you don't want to live with you, but they gonna be living rent free, or you might get up the neighborhood homeless guy peeing on your window, and you might go outside and your bike or your car ain't there no more. So I mean, it all depends on how you want to live. Me, I'm not
right,
living like
right.
that.
Yeah, well, I'm from Michigan too. You and I grew up in Michigan. We just,
Yeah,
I'm going for the best deal.
yeah, the best deal.
I'm not gonna go say, "Oh, everybody here except for that one open apartment that I could rent is a tweaker. I'll live here because it's cheap." I do know my limits,
Right,
but at the same time, like, I need a balance of tweakers. I don't need only tweakers,
right.
but if it's cheap because there's a couple tweakers, okay, maybe I'll look into this because I can
Well,
handle
no,
that. I can deal with
it,
it.
it's more than a couple plus the bugs that come along with it. You go ask them bugs too. They go
Yeah,
sitting there playing.
but they might just as well same bugs on the island might come in the the $6,000 ones.
The same ones, yeah. The
Yeah.
flying ones will. The flying ones will, yeah.
So, I mean, to me, yeah, it all becomes relevant on so many different levels. But the real thing that you hit on to me today was that it is the hustle. And I've said this before. It's been a while since I've really talked about this, but to be honest, I like saying this once in a while. And it sounds weird to people. I'm not trying to sound up on a high horse at all, but it's not like that. But gig work is not for everybody. It's
Oh, it's
not.
not.
It's not. And I don't just mean like because you have to be in a car or this or you're used to a desk job. I just mean like a lot of people I know people who have never worked service industry in their life. I told my son, I'm like, I think high school should demand you work service industry. Should be part of your senior year. That you have a job where people are going to yell at you and not be happy.
Uh, it's kind of an oxymoron when you look at it. You have people who try to work a W-2 and fail, and then you have people who try to work gig work and fail because at the end of the day, it's not in them. It's not in them to um hustle.
No.
And it's sad to say that it's not in them to even coming out here in the gig economy. They don't understand that everything you do is on you. What you produce is on you. There's no direction. Okay, maybe you get an order, you get a ride, you go grocery shop. That's maybe a little direction. That's your incentive. But when you decide to take that order, when you decide to take that ride, when you decide to do whatever you're doing out here, it's all on you. It's all about your attitude. It's all about your focus. It's all about your discipline. And it's all about your consistency. If you do all those things, you'll make it out here. And if you're not entitled or have the entitlement attitude, you'll make it. But if you don't do none of those, you're gonna struggle out here and you're always gonna say it's trash. And I've always said if it's in you, it's in you. If it's
Yeah.
not, you just lost. And I'm not saying it like I'm just this ultimate human being because I have my days, I have my moments, but I've always been a hustler my whole life. And that's fact. I've been a hustler
Yeah.
my whole life. And I've been in the W-2, I've been out here, and I've been a business owner. I am a business owner. So I understand a lot of different aspects of life. And that's what helps me make it out here. And Trader said that not too long ago. The things we did when we were younger, raking leaves, carrying groceries, putting buggies up, doing all those things as kids, prepared us to be out here in this gig economy.
And that's a good summary right there because people don't do that these days.
No, no, they
Like
don't.
kids, even non-entitled kids are growing up somewhat entitled now because they don't have to do those kind of jobs. It's shocking to me having you have kids too, but mine's in a senior in high school right now. So I'm a little more in the now and I'm watching
Mhm,
what woke culture has done. And it's
mhm.
just killing me because like they really think a task or a chore is a big deal.
Right,
They're
right.
like, "What?" I'm like, "Dude,
Yeah.
take the trash out." Like,
And they get an attitude. I can't be on my phone.
right, when I grew up, that wasn't when my dad said that, that wasn't an option. He
No,
wasn't asking me if I wanted to.
right. And yeah, it wasn't. No, why? Some my dad looked like, oh, he looking at that. Let me go ahead and get this trash out of here. He ain't even had to really say nothing. And the thing about too, we spoil our kids. And I pulled up to the drive-through because it was late, and no one's in the drive-through. Nobody, no cars. I'm the only car. I pull up to the window. The girl is like,
Yeah.
so I tap on the window. I have a DoorDash. She looks at me. I was like, wow, are you serious? Then walks away. And the manager had to come back and hand me the order because she did not want to get off that text. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
That
But I
is
mean, I
crazy.
guess, honestly, it's weird, but I'm glad. I will say this. I'm glad I didn't have a cell phone when I was a kid. I mean, these days I live off my cell phone. It is my work, so I need it. But to be honest, I'm glad I didn't have one as a kid because I did stuff as a kid.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
went out, I did things. They don't do things anymore.
No, that's it. And we with a cell. If we had cell phones when we were kids, we probably be YouTube stars. 'Cause the
Or we'd
things
be the
we
same
did.
as them. So maybe it's not
Yeah.
even their fault. It's just a technology thing. But my point is like, I'm glad I grew up when I did, I guess, because I
It,
feel like I grew up in a more fun era.
and it's sometimes I think it's the parents' fault now because they rather the phone or the tablet raise the child than they raise the child.
Yeah.
And if they child is I see parents that buy their 2, 3, 4, 5 year olds $1,000 phones.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
To
Why?
play
But then
games
what?
on.
Yeah, but then complain about they'll complain. Oh, gas is $4 a gallon, but you drinking that Uka Mocha latte that costs $15 every day.
Yeah.
You ain't missing that Starbucks.
No.
Come on, quit playing.
Yeah. I mean, and that goes again to the thing we were talking about earlier about maybe people are living outside of their means and not even knowing it.
Oh, they know it.
Well, no, but because of bad habits and not from them. It's not like taking up a drug or something. I'm not blaming them for it. It's the pandemic. No, nobody knew how to live during the pandemic. We had never had
Well,
one before.
nah. All
You
they
know?
knew is to pick up a phone, order on the app, and get it delivered.
Yeah,
Oh, and
because I
then
don't know how you relate pre-pandemic delivery, but like I'll even real quickly I'll say this that I get like DoorDash and Uber Eats were like non-existent pre-pandemic. The only one that was really being used was Grubhub, and they're the only ones that were transparent.
and what about Postmates?
Well, Postmates, yeah, okay. But I'm saying
Eh,
Grubhub was transparent. They were like, here's how much you'll be paid. Here's where they gave you all the details you want. And then
eh,
the
th-
pandemic happened and Uber Eats and DoorDash just flipped in and said, no, 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 let's be confusing and make it really diluted and hard to understand.
because they were doing what I believe, in my opinion, Easy Cater and Delivered and all those are doing. They seen what they were making as far as profits and what we were making as far as drivers, and they want to make more profits and hide us from what we're making as drivers. I'm in my opinion, this is me alone. I'm not taking the Easy Cater order because you're not paying me $20 to deliver $2,000 of food. I'm just not doing that. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't understand that when I first started doing Easy Cater and delivered that catering orders, they were great.
They
Then
were
all I
great.
started notice
Yep.
I started noticing the changes. They took the customer name away, added their name. Now they tip you. Now they give you the benefit. I picked up an order. I said it said it was going to pay me $19.22, and then I'll get the $3 setup fee. It paid me $22.22.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make any sense. The only addition was the $3 setup fee, and it was
Yep.
$1,500 worth of food. So no, that doesn't make any sense. How much of that did y'all keep? How much of that you keep? We don't know. There's no more transparency
Well,
because
here's
they
here's
seen it.
here's here's a crazy story. So Easy Cater put out a catering order that was picked up by Paraworks. I took it, I delivered it, and this all went well. And it was for a company called King Courier Services here in Colorado. They called Easy Cater or had their relationship with Easy Cater. Easy Cater passed it to Paraworks. Paraworks distributed it out to me. I made my money there. When I was done, King Courier Services had a company, Cartwheel, reach out to
Mm-hmm.
me and say, "Hey, download this app and we can get you tons of catering orders. Glad you did that." And I'm like, "You weren't even involved in this mix. Why do you have my information?" Like, why is King Courier Services giving out my information to a company I've never worked with?
Right.
And they're texting me now.
And
Now,
that's what
I'm
happened with
I'm
me.
willing to try things. And I said, "Okay." I downloaded the app. I've had nothing but almost comical experiences. Now, the offers haven't been horrible, but they come in like 10, 15 minutes before and they're like, "Oh, this is in 20 minutes." And they're actually pretty good, but they'll always, it's always like 6 at night. They come in at weird times and they're 4 that night. And they're like, "Go do this right now. Can you do?" And I'm like, "No, I'm home, but I would if I was out." And if I wait a few minutes, multiple times, I've had to turn the app off now because they'll text me and they'll go, "Can you please take this?" And I'm like, "This is the weirdest thing. You're really texting me, can I please take this?"
And that's what happened with me with Delivered That. They start calling me out the blue. I'm like, wait, the dude called me like, you going to get the order? I said, I don't have an order because all of them was coming through DoorDash. He like, no, look at your phone. I'm like, man, how in the world did you get my number?
Yeah, it's like they do. And that's what I was seeing on Cartwheel too. It would say you've been assigned an order. And that's just a trick to get me to go there.
Right.
Because when I get there, it's not assigned to me, it's just the order. And then they see that I opened the app. And that's when I'm like, "No, dude, I'm home. I can't take that." I close it, close the app, and then I get a text. "Please take this." I'm like, "Dude, what the?" That was the biggest play I've ever seen. Like, what are you guys doing? But I mean, it was weird because here it was like, we already know we share our information, but this is almost real-time third-party data being shared because I'm finishing a Paraworks order and King Courier Services, who was in the background of this whole thing, is now stepping in and saying, "We gave your information to Cartwheel. They're going to contact you."
But how legal is that though?
And that's what I'm wondering too. I mean, I'm guessing it's in a TOS I clicked, you know?
But you didn't click it for the King Courier Services though.
No, but with Easy Cater, I clicked that I will be working with all of their clients.
Oh, that's it. Because
So
that's yeah, that's what happened with CNN when they called me. I'm like, man, y'all play too much.
see, I think that you get trapped into the deals Easy Cater has made once you agree to work with Easy Cater.
Yeah.
Like they've
They,
made some weird agreements like that. And if I think their terms of service are like, "Hey, by working with Easy Cater, you work by all the standards we work under." And then they don't explain it real well. And it's like, "Okay, well, what are those standards?" Those standards are we give your number out to anybody that asks. Like, "Hey, well, wait a minute.
we sell
Maybe
your
I'll rethink
information.
this, man."
We
Because I'm
selling
with
your
you, man.
information.
Easy Cater used to be something you could get really good orders on.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're
Yeah.
tweaking it out a bit. I think that again, a lot of that has to do with such the oversaturation. I've seen this too. There's two things: oversaturation to crazy degrees and gas prices. Those always seem to trigger ups and downs with our economy, with the gig economy. If gas prices go really high, we see saturation die off a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as they triple oversaturate, and they just know they got to keep oversaturating, because the part that is behind the scenes that people don't hear often is that a lot of people don't make it more than 3 days in this.
No, they don't. They
I mean,
don't.
I think that we not only short times. I don't think how many people understand that some people don't even finish a first day. They get on the app and they're like, "Is this a joke? I'm done. I quit."
And it was crazy because when I started coming down here the very first day, everybody like don't go to, they call it in town, which is the zone I work in. Don't go in town, don't go in town. So I'm hard headed a little bit. I come in town, I made $30. I was like, fuck that. I ain't going back down there.
Yeah.
I'm not about to do that. And it was the ironic part of it is I started doing the outskirts of Honolulu, and I noticed like, wait a minute, I don't even have to go in town to actually get an order. And once I started doing the outskirts, it started forcing me in town, and I started learning it more and more. And I'm like, "Oh, this is easy, man. Why they don't
Yeah.
want to come in town? All parking? Nope. I already know where to park. I
Because they
already know where to go.
probably, like you, took an order in town, then drove right back to where they were.
Well, no, I didn't. I came down here on purpose to
Right.
try
I'm
to make
saying a
some
lot
money.
of dashers though probably are going, they hear that warning and they go down there like, nope. And then they work an outskirt area. They get sent downtown, then they just leave and go right back.
Yeah, but I learned to make it work for me. And people like, how do you easy? You learn it. You design it. It's almost you design the app around you, much
Yeah.
as you can. I mean, some people are gonna argue and say you can't, but you design it, you train it. And I was having a conversation with one of the guys that be on the panel the other day. If you consistently making $200 a day, they're gonna feed you enough money to get you to 200 a day. That's it. They're going to feed it to you. The habits you do every day is what that AI bot or the algorithm is going to give it to you. And it's just the slightest thing people pay attention to. If you start in your zone, if you say you're in your house, your home, an apartment, and you turn the app on, where you start at the end of the shift, if you stop working at 4 o'clock every day, between the hours of 2 and 3, they're gonna start sending you orders right back to where you started from, and you're gonna
Yeah.
wind up right a block or two away from your house.
Yeah.
And most people don't even pay attention to it. They
Yeah.
don't. And they like, why are you trying to force me back home? I'm not ready to quit. But that's what you've been doing for the last
Because
year.
because the bot is saying you are ready to quit. And if you keep
Yep.
working over, you're gonna get tired and you're not gonna work the hours I know you're supposed to work. So just listen to
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah. Yeah. And if people just look at that slightly and be like, wait a minute, wait, and just change it a little bit, it'll start getting better, way better. But
So
you know,
so as I walk us out of here, what I've already said it, but what I don't even, I mean, I know you do a lot of stuff with Gig Wars. I know I've seen you on Matt's stream and other streams. But is anything on your channel?
yeah, I have Dash of Life Hawaii on YouTube. Then I
Right.
also have the Six Fig Dasher on TikTok. I am also Dash of Life Hawaii on Instagram. I have a Six Fig Dasher Facebook page. Pretty much
Well,
that's where you can find
So
me at.
Ron will send all of those to me. So in the show notes of the audio or the video, you guys will be able to find all those links. Because if one of those social platforms applies to you and you don't get on the others, well then check them out on the one. You
Yeah,
know?
and I mean, like I got I got an article coming out. The magazine was mailed out to me today, so I should get it at the end of the month. I mean, end of the week. I have more podcasts coming up that I'm going to be on. I'm talking to several podcasts out in New York um, to make an appearance on those. So I'm moving and shaking around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the last question I got for you, just out of curiosity, because I'm sure you know some other dashers. I'm sure you know some multi-appers too. So I guess it doesn't even matter if they're multi-appers, dashers, whatever. Do you know people who make close to what like personally who are you're close with on the island that make close to what you do?
I know people that make more than I do
You
personally,
do. Okay.
and they drive a moped.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I know personally it's 8 of us here. Um, we're all making over 6 figures,
Okay.
and I know them personally. And that's one thing I've tried to stress to people a lot. I'm not the only one who doing it. I'm just the one who blew up
Right.
the spot. I blew up the spot, and a lot of people fear what they can't control. If I was
Sure.
like, and I tell people like, if I was worried about saturation, if I was worried about the next man, I would get out this business. And I know the last time I checked, it was 2 million Door Dashers. Okay, so it's probably 2 million Uber Eats drivers. It's probably millions and millions of Grubhub drivers. And I say that because when I go to the grocery store, and they say I want some Sara Lee bread, I still see the Wonder Bread sitting right next to it. You know, it's not just one person. It's enough money to go around for everybody, and I don't worry about the next person. I do it my way. You know, if I was worried about those when those guys, oh, when they saw me come to the island, they would give me funny looks, but I didn't know they was trying to figure out who I was. They saw me moving around, and as we started talking, we all started, just intertwining and mingling and sitting at the bar drinking or whatever together. And then we all realized, damn, this is $1 million sitting right here between us.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like
I mean,
literally. And
yeah,
they were
no, that's what I'm
all
saying. If
like,
you got 10 at 100 at 6 figures plus
yeah,
each, you're over.
yeah. And they were all, and we all come to the thing, and they were like, when the article dropped, they were like, man, I ain't mad at you for doing it, but I'm like, did it change for you? Did it change for you?
Yeah.
If it ain't stopping your money, then why you worried about it? And they was like, you know what, you're right. Because they seen the decline. A lot of people came down here, they tried to work it. They, like you say, they got frustrated, they walked away from it. Because I'm not trying to glorify it. I'm telling you like this. I work these
It's
hours.
not glorifying if you're being honest and you're telling all
Yeah,
the stats.
right, right. Not saying it against you, but what I tell anybody, I'm not glowing. This is not easy. It's not physically. I had to make some changes in my health, in my diet, and what I consume to be able to work the hours that I work. So most of the time, to me, this is a mental challenge. Because if I ride past the beach and I see them waves, I'm like, yeah, do I want to go to the beach or do I want to make money? You know, do I want
Yeah.
to do I want to go on a hike, or what do I want to do? So it's more of a mental challenge within myself to stay focused than it is a physical challenge. And to me, I'm having fun. And as
Yeah.
long as I'm having fun doing this, I mean, it is what it is. I have a plan that I'm gonna use this for so long and put everything else into perspective. And I'm always gonna keep it in my back pocket though.
Yeah, yeah. No, I would say that to everybody. Look, even if you move to a W2 or whatever you might want to do, or you start your own business, don't call these apps and terminate yourself because you never
Right,
know.
right.
You
You
might,
never
I mean,
know.
even if it's just a short pocket, you might have something where you got to make $1,000 in 2 weeks on top of whatever you make. Well, there you go. You still got that.
Yeah. It,
Multiple income streams are a big thing with me. I think that everybody should have as many as they can. And I know that's to some people, it's like, dude, I don't have that opportunity though. And to them, I'd say everybody does. You just got to look for the multiple streams. They might not all be gig apps,
right.
but try and
Any
find as many streams of income as you can.
and anything I tell anybody, anything you do can be income. Anything
Yeah.
you do can be a business. You can turn
Especially
anything
if you have
into
a
money.
passion for it.
Hmm.
If you have a passion for it, you can turn anything into a business.
Yep. You can make it into money. And look at the pet rock.
Yeah. Guy made $1 million on a rock. I mean, that's all he did was put it in a little zip bag and
Look
I
at I
remember
mean,
I remember the pet rock.
look
I
at
mean,
it. I
I'm
mean,
old
some
enough to
people,
remember when that was like a thing.
yeah, and some people don't know what I'm talking about, but just look
No,
at
I
the pet.
actually remember those. Like, I remember like now I'm thinking, dude, if you put that out today and it had never been invented, nobody'd buy it.
Nobody.
Nobody. They'd be like,
It
you
was
guys are idiots. Just go get one. They're
it was a
outside.
paper. It was a paper ring, a paperweight, but it's sold.
I mean, you're right, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he even got away with it then, to be honest. But somehow he built that brand and it worked. He sold it.
Yeah, and that's all it is. You find somebody who believe in it. You find something that look. Will they buy this? Oh, will they watch this?
Yeah.
And you go for it, and it happens. I
So
mean,
so what
if
I
you look at
one thing I would say to people though is don't listen to this conversation today and think, "Oh my gosh." And if you missed the part about how expensive it can be to live in Hawaii, go make sure you heard that part too. Don't think that you can go, you know what? My market's really slow right now. And if I can go make 100 grand working gig work in Hawaii and live on the beach, I'll just go do that. That's not how it works.
No, no, it's
You
not.
can't just go, my city sucks. I'm going to move to Hawaii tomorrow.
It's not.
Yeah. I mean, like
Well,
maybe you'll get lucky, but I doubt it.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not. I mean, but if they want
you
lessons, I
because
can teach them.
you need so much money to even move to Hawaii. Like
Um,
you could like lowly project and say, I only need a plane ticket and a backpack. No, you don't, dude. Trust me, you're gonna be very unhappy.
yeah, they're gone because even though the people here over a period of time, they, you know, start talking and communicating with you. But most of the time, if you hear the turnover rate, mostly is tourists. So if they
Right.
don't constantly see your face, they're not gonna talk to you. They're not gonna be so open and friendly. But the more and more, even with the businesses and the relationships I've built now, it's because they kept seeing me consistently. And then once the article dropped, they were like, "Oh shit, that's you." So
Yeah.
that's me, and
Yeah.
but had I been in that entitlement zone, or if I have been giving them shitty attitudes, and I've been like just a pretty much an asshole to them, it would have never worked. But the businesses and the relationships I've built with these merchants, when they see me, it could be 10 dashers or Uber Eats guys there, and they can be waiting. I walk in, I get my bag, I walk out. And it's not saying I'm just a man, it's just because I put the time in, I built it, and I made sure I always say, how you doing? And have a nice day.
Yeah.
Whether they having
You
a
got
shitty
to.
day,
That's part of the
eh,
service industry. If you're
yeah,
in a bad mood, you still gotta put that smile on.
yeah, put a smile on your face and keep it moving.
Yeah,
And
it's a tip industry, people. If you frown and you're pissy, nobody's gonna want to tip you.
and it's brought me business. Several places they call me like, "Can you come drop this off for me? I'm in the bind." Oh, okay, I'll do it. I'll give you X, Y, and Z. You got to come a little bit more, or they be like, I'll be like, you know what? That's a little bit of too much, but if you willing, I'll take it. So, um, yeah, it comes with the territory. Good attitude brings you more business. And
Yeah,
some things like that I don't talk about, but
I honestly believe good attitude is just good energy, and you attract good things anyway.
and you never
If
know
you
who you're
don't have
talking
good
to.
if you're just going through life pissy, you're gonna see pissy results.
Hmm.
It's it's pretty simple. It's
Yeah. And you never know who you talking. You could be talking to the CEO of some company. You never know. And they looking at you, and you with the attitude, they like, don't come back. You
right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the same time that we're doing these gigs and stuff, don't forget, people, this is a business. And there are people at levels that are treating it as such. So including like a Ron or me, but a lot of you are out here, not the listeners, but a lot of drivers are out in markets treating this like, where is all this money I was told about? They're not treating it like a business. They're not treating it like, I'm going to need to learn this first to really understand it. Because you should be going 2 weeks, and if your earnings are awful, that's just that's just barrier to entry. You're just learning the game. I mean, so like if you're quitting in the first 2 weeks, you didn't really give it a try.
And they have some of them have too unrealistic expectations. When I
Oh, a
say
lot.
that,
I think a lot of people have too unrealistic expectations.
they're expecting to make $1,000 in a day without putting in the work.
Yeah.
And that
Especially if they are coming from people of referrals, because people of referrals build it up like, dude, this can be easy for you. You're going to crush 100 deliveries in 4 hours.
yeah, okay. You
I'm
gotta
just saying they're going to build it up because they want you to hit that
right,
100 so they get their bonus too.
right, yeah.
So I mean, of course they're going to make it sound, it's a pitch, it's a marketing pitch. Even if they're your friend, it's still a marketing pitch. They're not wanting you to fail, maybe, but they want you to succeed. But for them to get their bonus, they need you to succeed.
Yeah. And
So
I'm like, it's like my girlfriend just started doing this, and she works at the plant, so she works at Stellantis or whatever they calling it now, whatever they want to be identified as, Stellantis, Daimler, whatever it is this week. Um, and she'll ask questions. I'll give her the best answer I can give her, but I say, you know what? Always do it like you. Don't do it like me. You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't want you to feel like you're doing this to get me. No, I mean, if you do it, you do it. I love it. I mean, I help you out, but do it like you. And she's back in Michigan too, so she's still in the Michigan market, and she's been pretty okay with it. You know, she's not getting out here expecting X, Y, and Z because I told her it's not always like that, and she actually sees how hard I work and put the time in. And she some days look at me like, I don't know how. I don't shoot. I'm tired off 2 deliveries.
yeah,
Like you made 2 and you tired. Hey. She's like, I don't know how you do it. I'm like, as you train, it's all. It's just like when I was bowling. It's muscle memory to me. You know, I train
hmm,
my body to do this, and my body's gonna give me what I give it. And when it's tired, it's gonna say, "Look, take a break," and
yeah,
I listen to it.
yeah.
You
I
know.
mean, we have flex hours and flexibility, but I've tweaked mine out to not my favorite hours. I used to get home from the bars at 4 a.m. Now I'm getting up for curry to start my day at 4 a.m.
Hmm.
So that's a life flip, man. When you start getting up when you went to bed before.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's just that's not only different, that's a whole hard world to break. If you live vampire life and you need to switch it to you get up as the sun comes up, that's a
And
whole different animal.
but that's another thing in
But it's
this
what makes
business
the
too.
money, man.
Yeah. It's one thing in this business too. Most people won't adapt. They won't make change.
Right, because they keep using the word flex term, at least in a way I don't. I'm not disrespecting them. You can say it however you want, but to me, flex is yes, I can work it around my schedule, but it also implies you're gonna look. It doesn't mean anytime you get on, you make the same money as everybody else.
Right,
Because there's a lot of times we would all like to work, but we know those are hours that don't pay.
right,
So
right.
you have to adapt. Flex doesn't mean you can just it just means oh, I'm in the mood. I'll make 50 an hour. No, that's not how it works. There are strategies. There's trends you have to follow. I
Hmm.
mean, some things might change, maybe like where you are, I'm not sure because you guys always have tourists, but like for me here, like I love snowboarding. So I like that I'm up there because sometimes I don't like door dashing so much, but in the winter I'll do it a little more up in Summit County because those people are all traveling in and renting $13 million homes. So when they order food, they pay big and tip huge.
Right.
So, I mean, like there are times there's a 3 month period, December to March or December to March, 4 months up in Summit County where I can go make a lot of money door dashing at night. And those are winter months. But at the same time, I got to go an hour away. So I only do it if I'm snowboarding up there. But, to each market its own. And I would say that if you're questioning your market, look at your cost of living too, because your cost of living is just as important as the money you make.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
if like I live in a very expensive place too. So if you pay 25% groceries, rent, bills, all that I pay to live in Denver, you only have to make less than half of what I make a month and you're making more than me. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
like, like after we all pay our bills and stuff, if you're making 40% of what I make in Denver and you're like, you make a lot more than me, you still might be making more than me
Right. Because
because
it's
a lot of
expensive.
I'm not wasting money, but just to live here is not cheap.
And
So
then
I mean,
that's topped on top of your daily life expenses. You
yeah,
know, so it's like a lot of people too. When I say market, sometimes I stop saying that because I say zone. Like it's 14 different zones here. So
yeah,
I've worked 9 of the 14 zones, and if the zone I'm in is slow, I'm gonna creep to that edge or that where
Yeah.
that border is between two zones, and I may cross over and get a better order in that zone.
Right.
With different ways of without switching zones. So a lot of people are not gonna do that. Oh, this trash. They cutting it off going home. I gotta figure it out. And when it comes, like I say, when it comes to certain people, they figure it out. Others just they just basically give up. You just have to learn it, and when you learn it and you apply it to you, uh, it could be worth. It can be worth the while, and it's on any app you do, on any platform, anything you do in the gig economy. You
Yeah.
know, then it's just like putting a podcast together. So most people don't understand how long and how many hours you actually put into making a podcast.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think some people are starting to, because I just crossed over 300 episodes. So, and and that's a long road, you guys. I've had CEOs, I've had political debates, I've had legislation debates, app debates. Like it's a lot of work, especially depending on the guests. Some guests are a lot more casual and it's easy. It's really chill for me, but some get very, like, I'm under a lot of pressure,
Yeah,
and I mean, some of these I know that I have 15 minutes to get 3 hours worth of questions across to a person that I might never get back on the podcast again.
right, right.
That can be really hard. So yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of this takes a lot of time. And again, like even like the mental preparedness stuff, like when I'm thinking about it, even that's not billable hours. I don't get paid for that.
Nope.
That's just stuff that's killing my brain until I figure it out. But I mean, I don't know. I like being like that. So I don't mind it. I like thinking about things and trying to be creative and keep my mind working. So um, it is what it is. But you know, I'm glad you're doing good in your market. I'm glad your market's strong. I feel like your market will always be strong. A lot of markets are always strong, but your market will always be strong. People never give up going to Hawaii.
No.
And that's a never ending. You guys just bring them in. It is rinse and repeat, dude. You guys just have them going through all the time.
Yeah, yeah. It just to discover it is it was a in the beginning, the first 6 months was real dim. But
Yeah.
I'm told myself, like, you know what, I'm not giving up. Even if I didn't do this, I'd probably be out doing a mobile auto repair, something. It wouldn't be at a W-2. And I told
I,
myself, I'm
I
not.
I know I've known a handful of people to move to Hawaii, and I actually know out of that handful, like my one friend is still there. He's married. He's been there many years now, but for the most part, many of them didn't even make 6-8 months
Yeah,
before
that
they
first
went back to Alaska or wherever they were from.
the first because it's like you see a lot of different people every day, and it can get lonely.
Yeah,
um, Especially coming from a place you don't you when you back home, you have people, you walk around, they know you, they see you, you speak, and you hear you people looking at you like, and it's like, oh, you have to adapt to the situation. And if you're not willing to adapt to any situation and have the confidence in yourself that you can make it, it is not going to be easy. And that's where anywhere you go. If I'd have went to Florida, it'd have been the same thing. I'm not feeling that person I'm looking at in the mirror every morning. I can't
right.
fail him.
Yeah,
I cannot fail him. And I'm gonna make it.
yeah, yeah.
And if all else fail, I'll be back to being a mechanic again. Cause that's a life trade that I never, like riding a bike. I can pick it back up tomorrow. I'm
I
doing it.
could do the same thing with the bars, but
Right. Right.
but at the same time, I'm kind of, if I can not have to do that, I would love it.
Me too.
It's not what
Me.
I want to do, but I know I could fall back on it.
Yeah. So
But at the same time, so Ron, thank you for joining us today. Always
Uh,
love having fresh blood on here and talking with new people. And even though I've talked with you before, it was interesting, and I liked having you on. So, thank you for joining me.
I appreciate the offer. Appreciate you having me on here. I enjoy
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So keep you guys keep be smart out there. Be safe, earn smart, and we'll see you back here next week on the podcast.
All right. See
Peace.
you.